matched teams are going at it.
So hour 15 of the college basketball tip-off marathon, and we're ready to go here in Riverdale. A home team in the white uniforms with the green trim. Winthrop on the road in the dark uniforms, and we're underway with Winthrop winning the tip. Could have used that line about the anatomy of a bracket buster. Maybe some kids would have used it to get out of class.
I think Manhattan's hoping that a few folks skip class to peek in on this, as you see Manhattan in their half-court pressure defense.
First foul of the game called. It'll go against Xavier Turner for Manhattan. This Manhattan defense, it's basically out of the Rick Pitino mold of pressure, 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 pressure.
Yeah, Steve Masiello, Rick Pitino protege. When I asked Steve yesterday who was his greatest influence, of course, it was Rick Pitino with the various types of pressure, full court, half court. So you see here. Nice.
OKK's ball blocked but knocked out of bounds, and it will stay with Winthrop. As you look at Pat Kelsey, the coach of the Eagles, 41 years old, a bundle of energy. He was fun to watch in practice, as much fun as it was watching the players.
Absolutely. A former player at Xavier, and his mentor, the late Skip Prosser. And again, you talk about energy, but you're also talking about keeping the game in perspective. You know, Skip Prosser, one of the greats in the game, and you know, Pat Kelsey talks about him every single day to his players.
Little too tall for Bjorn Broman. And so the ball goes over to Manhattan. Their head coach is Steve Masiello, 39-year-old. He shaved. He's been wearing a beard and a mustache.
I don't know if it's television or not, but Steve Masiello in his 6th year, 92 and 72. And as I mentioned, he's taken Manhattan to the NCAA tournament as the underdog winner of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference tournament 2 out of the last 3 years.
There's Turner with the first points of the game. Xavier Turner, the junior from Indianapolis. And so that pressure again from Winthrop for Manhattan against Winthrop.
And the thing for Manhattan is you recognize they have to score in order to apply that full court pressure. And they really get teams out of rhythm, get them scrambling.
Inside and in for Xavier Cooks. 12 for Winthrop.
Well, that was good penetration by Bjorn Broman. Again, if you can penetrate, get into the paint against the pressure, you've got some opportunities.
There are 2 Broman brothers, both on the court for Winthrop, so you'll hear that name a lot. Foul inside. It's going to go on Dubio KK. He is 6'8" center for the Eagles.
And Okeke's foul is part of the focus on cutting down on the physical play in the paint. You can't lean on guys. You can't reach over. You got to be able to move your feet.
Offensive foul. Waterman, Zane Waterman from Winston-Salem. Junior forward will be tagged with that.
Speaking of moving your feet, terrific job by Xavier Cooks right there, just getting in Waterman's path. Waterman dips his shoulder.
Yeah. That's kind of like waving a flag at the referee when you dip that shoulder.
Yeah, and again, getting to that position, getting to that spot. We'll hear an awful lot about the space of the defender as well as the offensive player, that vertical space that they're entitled to.
Keon Johnson's errant pass intercepted by Tyler Wilson, but he couldn't stop his momentum from carrying him out of bounds. Keon Johnson, 5, will be the key player for Winthrop. He is the preseason pick to be the Big South Conference Player of the Year.
And I would expect him to be loaded for bear today. At a slow start in their first game against Ferrum College. Just 5 points, 2 assists, 2 of 8 from the field, but he's a better player than that.
And a heads-up play by Xavier Cooks there, 12 for Winthrop. Trapped in, just bounced it off the body of a Winthrop player and out of bounds. There's Cooks with the ball. Blocked. Ahmed Ishmael with the block. Winthrop back the other way in a hurry. Ishmael feeds it outside. Crawford from the corner. 3.
Pretty ball movement by Manhattan. Utilizing Ishmael as the conduit. And big fella's having some impact on both ends of the floor. Young man, a transfer from Colby Community College in Kansas by way of Egypt.
Here's Cooks. Off the mark.
Really looking to try to get the ball inside to the big fella. Nice job once again Good things happen when you get it inside.
There's Ahmed Ismail. He's a 7'2", 285-pounder. You mentioned he was playing community college ball the last couple of years. Only been playing basketball for 5 years. Born in Cairo, Egypt. And he says his goal, he's not shy about telling you what he thinks the strengths of his game are and what his goals are. He says he wants to be in the association within 3 years.
Well, that's a young man. He needs more experience, obviously. You just mentioned the very few years that he's played the game. But he is a confident young guy. You know, sometimes maybe a little bit too confident. Coach Masiello has to rein him in and let him know that he doesn't know everything. But you kind of like the fact that he feels good about himself. That's the first building block in developing a good player, that they feel good about themselves and about their work ethic.
1 of 2 on the free throws. A 6-2 lead for the Jaspers over the Eagles.
And again, you see the ball pressure there. Aaron Walker, the freshman, does a nice job, but Keon Johnson just too quick.
This is Broman. That's Anders Broman off the mark, though. Cooks with the rebound. Now Johnson for 3. Got it.
We told you Keon Johnson, it's only a matter of time before he lights up. A nice feed by Xavier Cooks, a guy, again, we'll hear his name often today. He does just about everything. Pat Kelsey talks glowingly about his versatility.
Calvin Crawford for 3 for the Jaspers. Had a big finish to last season, big final 11 games for Manhattan. He's going to pick up the foul there just after getting the tray. Now check that, Walker will get the foul there. Calvin Crawford from Middletown, New York, one of 7 players from the state of New York on this Jaspers roster.
Yeah, again, once again, good ball movement, good recognition by Walker to double team. Someone was open. And rather than hold it, you kick it out to look for that open man.
Johnson from the corner. The rainbow tray.
And he wasn't eclipsed one bit by the 7'2" Ishmael.
Ishmael feeds it outside. This is Thomas Capuano off the mark. Fight for the rebound. That's going to go. The foul will go against the Jaspers. And Winthrop will get the ball back. Zane Waterman with his second. He will head for the bench. The third shift change for Steve Masiello. He subs a lot of people in and out in bursts to kind of keep up that pressure defense, as now Ishmael heads to the bench for his first breather of the game.
And Allen, so far, you know, none of these guys seem to have missed their wake-up call. I know we're playing 8:45 in the morning, but you see an excellent effort, you know, pretty sharp passing. The biggest problem Manhattan seems to be suffering right now is some of the fouls that just aren't necessary. Against Bucknell, they fouled an awful lot. Fouls that you just didn't need to, and Bucknell did a nice job on the free throw line, taking advantage of those fouls.
Keon Johnson carrying the way for Winthrop so far. He's got the ball in his hands here. He's going to get fouled on his way toward the paint, and that's going to be Aaron Walker. No, they called that on Capuano. So Keon Johnson, talked a minute before about the preseason pick to be the player of the year in the Big South Conference. Look at the numbers he's put up. Last season, 18.7 per game in 5 games with over 30.
Well, again, he's a little dynamo, and you see why. His ability just to pull up on a dime and knock down shots. Look at Walker. My goodness.
Wow. Aaron Walker, freshman from Brooklyn.
And I talked about the fouls that Manhattan committed. And right there, discretion pretty good. Ojo decided not to go after that shot and create the foul.
Tevin Prescott with the basket for Winthrop. Sorry, Len.
But against Bucknell, 26 personal fouls, gave them 32 free throws. And you just don't want to give teams easy buckets.
Samson Usillo called for the travel. 1-point game just underway in Manhattan. It's a pretty good start for a couple of teams that we expect to be a back-and-forth game. Each of these teams has played in their conference championship game the last 3 consecutive years. Manhattan has gone to the NCAA tournament 2 of the last 3 years. Jaspers have come up short in the conference championship game, but they are the unanimous preseason pick to win the Big South Conference Championship this season. And certainly will be one as Keon Johnson throws one up from the corner. Crawford with the rebound for Manhattan. They'll be one to keep an eye on come March. Good hustle back by Tevin Prescott, 31 for Winthrop, to tip that ball away and force a little reset.
And again, neither of these teams are shy in pushing the ball up the floor. They've got dynamic little point guards that handle it well, are explosive getting into the paint, and can create for themselves and others.
Samson Usillo with the ball, one of the big men for Manhattan that they've waited a long time to see get out on the floor.
And one thing about Manhattan, they've got 6 newcomers, and it's been a job trying to integrate those newcomers into this system. And when I talked to Steve Masiello about it yesterday, he mentioned the fact that they don't put pressure on them on the offensive end. If they go forward and they put forward the effort, go for the deflections, look for steals, play solid defense, you give that effort, the rest of it will come. And I think it's paid off for the newcomers here.
Swatted away. Prescott with the block.
Whoa.
That's difficult. Crawford looks like he slipped and fell. And over the top of him went Joshua Davenport for Winthrop. Fortunately, everybody up and okay. So 1-1 now, as already Manhattan has committed 7 team fouls up into the bonus. And so Joshua Davenport, senior forward from Cincinnati, will go to the line.
It's another one of those inadvertent, unnecessary fouls that, again, gets Manhattan in trouble, puts teams into the bonus often and early.
And it is early, both in the game and in the day.
You look at Joshua Davenport, a very improved player for this Eagle team. Doubled his output from sophomore to his junior year. Last year averaged about 6 points per game and had 8 points in their game against Ferrum.
Really took his field goal shooting percentage up. He was only a 34% shooter as a sophomore, up to 60% as a junior. Foul on Roderick Perkins, the senior forward for Winthrop. It's his first. Perkins good to have back for the Eagles. Missed almost all of last season with a hand injury.
Right now the official's going to go talk to the big fellas for both teams. Tevin Prescott as well as Ahmed Ishmael about the physical play inside. And you can't repeat it enough. The official's focus is on eliminating and or at least reducing the physical play down in the post.
Driving up and doesn't get the roll, but Naquan Council does draw the foul and will get an opportunity to shoot free throws. Hey, I don't know if you could catch in the background. I heard it through the headset, so you might have been able to hear it at home. Referee Ron Taberski saying to them, don't push each other off the blocks.
Right, and that's essentially what they're talking about. Using shoulders and hips are okay, but when you start to root people out, then it becomes an issue. And the officials aren't going to be hesitant in calling double fouls. You know, there are times, have been times in the past where they missed the first and call the second one. Well, now they've been given the okay to call double fouls, recognizing that the initiation is by both players.
And another point of emphasis made to the officials for this season, call the first foul.
Right.
So a 12-point game apiece. Davenport recovers. Roaming around to Perkins. Got it from the corner. That's a three.
I'll tell you what, you have to be careful with Winthrop. You know, this is a team that loves to shoot the three-pointer. Second in three-point percentage in the Big South. Second in three-pointers per game.
There's a three from Calvin Crawford from Manhattan. He's got 9 already. Ishmael with the block. Davenport, I thought, figured he was going to pick up some contact in the lane. Instead, Ishmael with the block.
I talked about Winthrop relying heavily on the three. They led the Big South in threes made. But here on the other end, and that's pretty good range from Calvin Crawford. Winthrop keeps trying to test the big fella, and the big fella keeps passing that test so far. Ahmed Ishmael really doing a good job defensively. Look how quickly he got out to the corner to contest that shot.
Underneath, draws the foul as Prescott came across and got a piece of the arm.
Now, and I like the idea of the pump fake because he didn't know what a defender was. So when you got that size and strength, you get the ball, you power up immediately. That way, he probably would have had an and one. You take a look, pump fake right there, didn't know where the defender was. But had he gone up strong, he probably would have flushed that and still been on the line. Again, we talk about a young man that's playing with a lot of confidence, even in this new system. And against Bucknell in their loss, he was just 1 point and 1 rebound away from a double-double, 9 points, 9 rebounds, and a block.
Now 3 of 4 from the charity stripe for Ahmed Ishmael.
So the one thing this pressure does, it will wear you down, if not physically, certainly mentally. Whoa, pretty close to 10 seconds.
Time violation, yeah. And that is going to be a foul on Dubi Okeke. Is it a foul, or did he just turn it over? Just turned it over. Stepped on the end line. Okay.
And those are the kinds of forced turnovers that this pressure will yield. You continually pick at guys, and ultimately, and there it is right there, offensive foul this time by the big fella inside, utilizing his elbow to ward off the defender. You're going to take a look down low. Look at the right side of your screen, the right arm, warding off the defender. And that's the special emphasis that we've been referring to. You're not getting away with that stuff anymore, guys.
When you put that arm straight out like that, that's, again, it's something specifically that the officials have been told to look for and call for this season.
And you're right, straight out.
Yes.
If you shape up, your arms are kind of in an L shape, then you're allowed to do that and use that bent arm to hold the defender off. But if you reach out, you're going to get called for it.
Manhattan pressure, almost got a turnover, but could catch the ball inbounds. So Winthrop will get it at midcourt. 22 on the shot clock.
I know it's easier said than done, but you got to keep the ball in the middle against this press. When you start going from side to side, Manhattan's got the quickness and the length to shoot gaps and get a hand on ball. And we talk about, again, keys to success and the barometer that coaches use. When you talk to Steve Masiello, you know, he wants his guys to get 40 deflections, 11 steals, 42 paint touches. I don't know if he get 42 instead of 40, and 33 field goal percentage defense, hold teams to that or under, and he feels his team will be successful.
Anders Broman with the bucket. Oh, those analytics guys, huh? 42. Somewhere, someone studied something that came up with that number.
Yeah, there's an algorithm to attach to that.
Yeah.
But that was good ball movement by Winthrop. You know, you got to get Anders brothers, you got to get them loose. Particularly, the Broman brothers, particularly Anders, who's a terrific shooter, just hasn't had an opportunity to get himself on the court. 5,000 points in high school.
Naquan Council from the corner. Double teamed in the corner. That's Anders Broman. Gets away, gets it out to Cooks. Can't drain the three. Ball's going to stay with Winthrop. Off the head, it looked like, of Thomas Capuano and out of bounds.
But both of these teams, at least last year, weren't the best rebounding teams. In the bottom in just about every rebounding category. And I know Pat Kelsey made that an emphasis for his team this year to improve in rebounding. And Steve Masiello has had some pretty good success with his team rebounding. Bucknell, they had 45 rebounds, 19 on the offensive glass.
Cook skies it over A.K. Ojo's block attempts. And Xavier Cooks with a couple more.
But it's time for both teams to start limiting their opponent to just one shot. Their second chance opportunity to kill you. There's one right there. Good hustle.
Jordan Broman on the floor. Comes up with the ball. Here comes Cooks. Feeds it outside to Anders Broman. Lets one sail by. But couldn't drain the shot. Tipped. Cooks gets it to go.
Another second chance opportunity. We talk about the weakness in rebounding. You got to be able to secure that.
You can feel the stress that defensive pressure is putting on the Winthrop offense.
Yeah, you can see the rhythm is quickened. Maybe.
Oh, what a block. Well, OKK came across with it, but did not get the block. Got the foul. 1 point game here at Manhattan.
The officials will try to keep this thing under control. I mean, the yapping and the taunting. It's too early in the morning.
Can't we all just get along?
Exactly. I mean, both those guys are playing hard. Calvin Crawford having a pretty good game. See Pat Kelsey talking to Cooks. He needs Cooks tremendously. One of the outstanding players in the Big South. One of the most versatile players in Winthrop history and in maybe college basketball. He can play any one of four positions. Helps handle the ball against his pressure. We'll see what his absence does against the Manhattan press.
And Crawford goes to the bench after scoring on the free throws. Inside, drawing a foul. Joshua Davenport will shoot some free throws. Talk a little NBA basketball for you. There's an NBA Wednesday doubleheader coming up. Steph and the Warriors in Toronto take on one of the NBA's top scorers in the Raptors at 8 Eastern, then to Staples Center for the Grizz and the Clippers. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Warriors, everybody was worried about Steph Curry. The little, what was that, one game he had a little bit shaky. And
it's a long season.
That's right.
Let me tell you. Having played through 10 of those professional seasons. A lot can happen during that period of time. So people making judgments on the first 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
Come on, folks.
So here's Joshua Davenport shooting free throws.
Yeah, Davenport actually has taken that role that Cooks played in handling the ball against the pressure. Did a terrific job there, drawing the foul, challenging Ishmael down in the post.
1 of 2. Xavier Pert into the game, 12 for Manhattan. Another one of the big bodies on this Jasper team. And going to be a call inside on Josh Ferguson, 25 for Winthrop. A little obstruction to movement in the lane.
And I think Manhattan has to get a little more aggressive right now. You know, with the players that are on the floor, the only real scoring threat right now, Turner and Waterman. And they've got to get other guys involved. And the one thing the double tech did, putting Cooks and Crawford on the bench, is took out the 2 leading scorers for their respective teams.
Xavier Pert, another one of the newcomers to this Manhattan Jasper team. 6'10", 270-pound junior from Miami. Played at Eastern Florida State before coming here.
Just called off that free throw.
Lane violation.
Yep. Tyler Wilson is senior. Better know better right now. Just took a point off the board.
And going to be a foul there on Wilson.
There's another one of those rules that's going to be doubly enforced right now. A little hand check. Wilson with a quick arm bar. And that becomes habitual. And over the years, because of the relaxed nature of the officiating with regard to those, guys get in bad habits. And now, when you got to stop, it's tough to break those habits.
With the adjustments they made last year, how long did you think it took everybody to kind of catch on and go?
I think teams did a good job in the preseason so that it wasn't really a steep hill to climb to avoid making the mistakes that would have resulted in foul calls.
Johnson back in the game, can't hit the 3.
And then again, the officiating kind of relaxed a little bit during the season, but now, I mean, they're starting tough right from the get-go.
Kind of what you need to do, and again, we'll see how long it takes teams, players, coaches to adjust, and referees. Offensive foul called on Anders Broman.
And this is what, again, the pressure does at it. kind of forces you to lose focus a little bit. Roman didn't even see Wilson. He tried to get by him at the last moment. You know, Wilson obviously looked like he was established legal guarding position, and Roman ran him over. It's close, though. That's the toughest call for officials to make.
Turn that shoulder in. It's probably going to go against you.
Yeah, once you dip it.
Yep. So we were talking before about the stress beginning to show on Winthrop a little bit from the Manhattan pressure. At least I felt like it at the time. Maybe that double technical slowed it down a little bit, but were you seeing that?
Yeah, a bit. When you see guys looking down at the floor, trying to bust through, you know, and avoid the double teams, but they forget there are guys who are taking positions underneath them, etc. You see more charging calls. You see more errant passes because of it. Because you're trying to get the ball over half court, you're trying to avoid the 10-second violation, and you're trying to get into your offense to avoid shot clock violations. That's what the pressure does.
Keon Johnson is going to draw a foul. It's going to be Naquan Council, his first. Kind of trying to move out and trap him up against the midcourt line. So a really tall tally of fouls here in this first half.
Yeah, and when you talk about the pressure, I mean, it really hasn't hurt Winthrop that much. You know, there have been very few turnovers. The impact has been more on the quick shots, taking them kind of out of their rhythm a little bit. On the other side, though, again, what's even that up is Manhattan's penchant for fouling. You get Winthrop into the bonus quickly.
Keon Johnson knocks a couple down. And the Eagles with a 3-point lead. Right hand wouldn't go.
Good move, but Council just couldn't put it down. Again, aggressive move, the kind that Manhattan certainly could use.
Bowman got the three. That's Anders Bowman.
Now here's where, again, if I'm Manhattan, you want to come down, obviously you want to score, you want to answer. But now that Winthrop seems to have found a combination to that lockdown pressure, here's where I would call it off a little bit, change my defenses up, force Winthrop to adjust to something else and maybe come back to the pressure later. Shot clock under 10.
Wilson into the tall trees and gets it to go. Tyler Wilson.
And that's a godsend for a guy who's not normally an offensive threat. He doesn't look to score. I think that's the first shot he's taken this season in 2 games.
Off the mark. Roman couldn't get it to go all the way ahead. And the follow. Nope, foul going the other way. Wave it off.
Ball, Calvin Crawford for the push-off underneath.
So that's his third.
Third foul. Remember, that double tech counted as a personal foul. You take a look at the push. And Council kind of ill-advised, but he gets it up on the glass. And there's the push-off as the diminutive one, Keon Johnson, with the block out. And Johnson probably didn't even see him. I mean, Crawford didn't even see him.
Yeah. Keon Johnson, 5'7", 160 pounds, shooting free throws here. He was the first Winthrop player ever to average 20-plus points per game in conference play for a season. He did that a year ago. So 10 now for Johnson. It's kind of a quiet 10, too.
Again, he's picked his spots.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, Winthrop doing a nice job against the pressure of Manhattan. We see the stress, but so far the stress hasn't produced any cracks.
Xavier Turner handles the ball here for the Jaspers. Usillo drives. Just wouldn't go, but he'll draw the contact and the foul. Samson Usillo, 6'4", 205-pound junior from Lagos, Nigeria. Missed basically the last 2 years of playing.
Now he's getting a chance, showing the form that attracted the Manhattan program to him. You know, he suffered torn ACL and then attendant leg problems afterwards, but seems to be in the peak of health right now. And the best part about Yusilo, as I talked to folks for the Manhattan program, is that he didn't waste any time. He's doing a terrific job in school, gotten himself, you know, advanced beyond his sophomore status academically. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Winthrop getting an assist on every field goal they're making. They've been moving the ball around well to beat the pressure.
Exactly, and that's what I said. They haven't really turned it over. The stress has been there, but they haven't cracked under. They bent, but they didn't break.
Shot clock at 7. And from the lane, Joshua Davenport gets it to go.
So you're seeing a comfort level right now with Winthrop against this press. And that's why I say this is a time when a team develops a comfort level. You've got to change on them. And now the turnovers are starting to mount for Manhattan.
Just couldn't connect with Perkins, could Broman. And the under 8 timeout has the Eagles pulling away just a little bit from the Jaspers.
Now it's your shot.
It's the 4 turnovers. Manhattan now just the 1 field goal in the last 5 minutes. Winthrop on a 10-2 run and has opened the lead up to 8.
And during that period of time, Manhattan has turned the ball over, not getting really good shots, but staying aggressive right here.
Going to get a foul as Tyler Wilson will get to shoot. And if you jump on the number 1 train right just outside Dratty Gym here and take it down to Madison Square Garden and find a way in, you can see the 6th annual State Farm Champions Classic, or you can just watch it on ESPN tonight. Number 2 Kentucky, number 13 Michigan State at 7 Eastern, then number 1 Duke and number 7 Kansas. Both games on ESPN, streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN with, by the way, the college football playoff ranking show in between the 2 ball games. And after the crazy weekend in college football, be very curious to see how that turns out.
Wow. Michigan, Clemson, who else lost? They're all expected to be in the playoff. My goodness. Oh, Washington.
Washington, yeah. USC beat Washington, so.
Yeah. Again, with this cushion, Winthrop can afford to take their time right now, continue to move the ball as well as they have, and rack up the assists and the points.
Johnson. Got the 3.
My, oh my.
Wow.
I'm not even sure he saw the rim.
He was leaping in the air from his left to his right, kind of pushed that one up from his chest.
And the defender right in front of him.
Wound up on the floor after he shot it and still got it to go. Nothing but net.
Take a look again. Excellent ball movement right there. Hand in the face.
Nothing to it.
Not much the defense can do with something like that. And we talk about the explosiveness of Keon Johnson. And you saw there, all 5'7" of them elevating and able to knock that shot down.
So Pickett was called for the foul for Winthrop. As Keon Johnson living up to billing here.
And we mentioned before, in their first game against Ferrum College, it was a less than pedestrian performance by Keon Johnson. Just 5 points, really didn't get involved in the game. 2 of 8 from the field. But I guess he's risen to the occasion against stiffer competition, no question.
Anders Broman from the corner for 3.
The ball movement of Winthrop has got the Jaspers scrambling right now. And once you get a team scrambling in rotation, you keep moving it, catch them in rotation until you get an open look. And that's what Winthrop has done.
Shot clock to 10. Council from the corner. Off the mark. This go out of bounds and will stay with the Jaspers.
Now take a look at the ball movement starting here. An aggressive Manhattan defense, and right there, that's when you run out of the defense, as Council did. You create an opening, you force everybody to have to rotate, and ball movement finds an open look.
Into the lane, Naquan Council draws the contact and the foul, and he'll be shooting free throws. That is the 3rd on Josh Ferguson. for Winthrop. There's going to be some people in some foul trouble here before we even get to halftime.
Yeah, two aggressive teams going after it. I think Manhattan, though, will be a little upset with themselves, the fact that they gave away a couple of easy fouls. Calvin Crawford particularly on the bench right now with 3 fouls. One of those was the technical foul. That counts as a personal foul. So, you know, he's on the bench for a long period of time. Those self-inflicted wounds are hard to recover from.
So Naquan Council, the freshman guard, looking to make the back end of the free throws. More subs into the game now for the Jaspers. 35, Oliver Ernval is getting his first minutes of the game.
When you talk about ball movement, you can't get any better ball movement, although they throw it away there, than Winthrop has demonstrated. 11 assists on 12 field goals against the press.
Foul going the other way. Did not draw the foul going to the bucket, and the contact afterwards is going to draw A.K. Ojo's foul, his first of the game. Big number 1.
And if you're Manhattan, you want to stay aggressive, but your aggression has to be focused aggression. You can't afford to go over guys' backs. You can't afford to do anything right now that you're in the penalty, or the double penalty, to put Winthrop on the line and extend this lead.
28 fouls. 5 minutes to go, first half. So Adam Pickett shooting free throws. I'll be curious to get your thoughts next time Winthrop brings the ball up. You talk about the ball movement and how well they've been able to do that. But a lot of what's making that work is they've been able to beat the pressure in their own end. They've been able to get the ball to the timeline.
Yeah, once you can beat the pressure with some speed and you get the defenders behind you, now you have advantage situation. Also, Manhattan has been complicit. Nice drive right there, and that's the guy that needs to get on track. Xavier Turner, a terrific offensive player. Usually he might be the match of Keon Johnson, but he just hasn't been as involved.
Johnson into the lane. They get it to go. Jaspers set and shoot. Off the mark. Rebound Ernval. Feeds it back.
Steve Masiello's gone to his bench, and for the most part, he's gotten some effectiveness from them, but now the offensive foul.
For the win over Niagara. And so as the clock ticks across the bottom of the hour, we move to hour 16 of the marathon. We're at Draddy Gymnasium, Riverdale, New York. Alan Best with Glenn Elmore watching Winthrop of the Big South and Manhattan of the Metro Atlantic. And the Eagles up now by 11. Patrick Perkins with that latest one.
And Alan, that time Manhattan in a more controlled aggressiveness on defense. But Winthrop's so hot right now. They're moving the ball and knocking them down at will.
Freddie Poole going to get called for the foul. Largest lead of the ball game for the Eagles. And Pat Kelsey. Kelsey, a 41-year-old, played at Wyoming and then Xavier. Played in 2 NCAA tournaments there with Xavier. He is from the Skip Prosser coaching tree, if you will.
And you know, every time you talk to Pat, he'll sing Skip Prosser's praises, rightfully so. Terrific coach and even better human being. He certainly is missed.
Watching practice here yesterday, and Pat Kelsey was not only directing the drills, he was out there in the middle of some of them. He was part of the scout team and bringing the energy, both in spirit and physicality.
Well, as he told us humbly, and then you take a look at Skip Prosser's son, Mark. As Pat told us humbly, he wasn't blessed with a lot of attributes, but he wasn't shortchanged on the energy side.
He was fun to talk to. Way outside, but the ball's going to come back to Johnson and be tied up as Wilson got in there. And the possession arrow, the ball goes over to the Jaspers.
Boy, Steve Masiello almost had a reason to explode with his team not going after that long rebound, but Tyler Wilson, the senior, to the rescue. And you see Winthrop now maybe a little overconfident against this Manhattan defense, taking shots maybe they don't necessarily need. And in doing so, they're playing into Manhattan's hands, increasing Manhattan's possession and giving them a chance to kind of close this lead.
So 4 to go in this first half. One thing that the Jaspers have done well is shoot the free throws when they've been given the opportunities. 14 of 19 from the line. Turn around, and a nice one there by Thomas Capuano, the sophomore guard.
Yeah, Capuano's been quiet in this game. He led the team in scoring against Bucknell with 11 points.
Put up for a contested ball, and they'll call Tyler Wilson for the foul. And he is not happy about it, but they'll escort him.
Hard to fit in, one of those mid-sized cars driving around.
Yeah.
But that's great, though.
It's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what this game is all about, too. It's about the families. It's about the excitement, sharing the emotion.
Joshua Davenport makes both ends of the free throws.
And both of their sons contributing mightily in this game. Anders with 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. And Bjorn doing his job, 5 assists and playing some pretty good defense.
Xavier Turner letting the triple fly. His 9th.
Manhattan, they went to a kind of a controlled defense for a while. Kind of got Winthrop to relax and kind of settle in. Now they're going back frenetic, and it may be paying some dividends. As we see, it's rushed Winthrop once again.
Oliver Ernvall came up with a rebound. And so the Jaspers come back the other way. Capuano tries to feed inside to Turner, and he will be fouled and draw some more free throws for Manhattan. Tonight, the Champions Classic from the State Farm Champions Classic from Madison Square Garden. Number 2, Kentucky. Number 13, Michigan State. That's at 7 Eastern. Then number 1, Duke. And number 7, Kansas. Both games on ESPN. Streaming live on Watch ESPN and on the ESPN app.
How about Michigan State? They love the underdog role when they're playing Kentucky. Played 4 times. Michigan State was ranked lower. They're 3-1 against the Kentucky team. And now you got a team for Kentucky, which it's the same as the last several years. Very young, but highly talented.
And I was just thinking, you were talking about the road trip.
Yep.
Right? Michigan State with that heartbreaking loss to Arizona, and Kansas losing to Indiana in overtime out in the Armed Forces Classic in Hawaii. Now coming here a few days later. That was Friday. Now they're back here in New York City to play Tuesday. And
people say going from west to east, you don't really suffer jet lag. And even though they've had a couple of days, don't believe it.
Yeah.
That has to affect your internal clock.
Josh Ferguson with a good rebound underneath. Feeds it outside to Johnson. It won't go. And Ferguson will get called for the foul as he tried to go up over Xavier Pert.
And again, just the adjustment in aggressiveness where Manhattan relaxed a little bit. Now they're going back at it and extending their defense again. Just that little bit has got Winthrop taking those long shots again. They haven't moved the ball as well as they did early in the game. And for Manhattan, it's starting to pay dividends.
Scoreline is what it is now versus what it was a little bit ago. Manhattan was down by 11 a little while ago. Now they are down just by 3. A check at 4. Had made 10 straight free throws.
And this is one of the things that I anticipated. We haven't seen it a lot, but in many games you've seen some teams with a huge foul advantage, free throw advantage. And here, both of these teams, in a balanced sense, are shooting a lot of free throws, and a lot of it has to do with the re-emphasis on enforcing those rules that are going to promote freedom of movement.
Davenport with the nice jumper.
Boy, quiet as it's kept. Davenport's done a terrific job here offensively in the middle against that pressure.
He's up to 9 points now in the game. From outside, wouldn't go for Capuano. And Davenport has the ball in his hands. Johnson runs into some trouble, into Davenport.
Look at
Nice
that
movement
ball,
across the lane, and it's waved off. Got him on the floor. Going to call, I believe that's Tyler Wilson they're going to call for it.
And give the credit,
his third.
Give the credit, Alan, to Keon Johnson. Double teamed and probably could see no daylight, but still found his teammate. You get it out of the double team once again, you've got an advantage if you can reverse the ball. And that's what Winthrop did, and ultimately they get their guys on the line.
Here's Freddie Poole, 6'7" junior from Columbia, South Carolina. Only got in for a minute in their opener against Ferrum. But when we talked with Pat Kelsey yesterday, as reminds you of the Land Rover halftime report coming up, we'll talk about the marathon games that have happened so far and preview the Champions Classic tonight. One of the things Pat Kelsey told us, I said to him, so your rotation, he said, well, we're still trying to figure that out. So many newcomers and how many minutes and who's earning what. And so we're seeing a lot of people get a lot of playing time and expected to do so.
Well, he said he doesn't want to have to play 10 guys.
Yeah.
Oh, tough luck by Capuano. Ball just slipped out of his hands. Good ball movement by Manhattan. Penetration in the paint. Kick out. And just a slick ball.
Nice step around the flying defender. I have seen a drop of moisture come down from the roof. Just it's an extremely humid day out. Not the warmest day out, but it's very humid. And so I would imagine that they were rather sweaty conditions for the players.
Yeah, you take a look at that graphic. More fouls than field goals in this game. You know, the aggressiveness, particularly of Manhattan defensively, certainly they're going to draw some fouls. Some of them they wish they could take back. But also Manhattan getting to the line and driving to the basket, forcing Winthrop to have to play them.
Anders Broman with a nice stop and pop. He's got 10.
And just like that, Winthrop goes back to a 9-point lead.
Look at this.
Possession is because you want to kind of finish on a good note. This may be the last possession that they get.
Off the mark. Rebound to Winthrop. Turner couldn't get it to go.
It's still an opportunity to get one more possession from Manhattan. If they can make a stop here, they can still come out feeling good about themselves.
Perkins.
That's just excellent execution and patience by Winthrop with their ball movement. And the guys in the middle, be it Davenport, Perkins, against this zone, guys at the top of the key have done a terrific job in breaking that pressure and facilitating baskets.
So after an 11-point lead went down to 3, the Eagles on an 8-0 run bring it back up to 11. Now final shot of the period. Capuano gets it to go. Do in this second half?
Well, they certainly do, and one of the things Manhattan has to realize is they had to play that second half primarily without, first half I should say, primarily without two of their key guys, Zane Waterman and Ahmed Ishmael, 4 and 5 minutes respectively. And when you get your big guys out of the game, it's tough to make up.
Both back in the game now. Shot for Anders Broman won't go.
And having forced to go to the bench and utilize the bench. Remember, Winthrop without Xavier Cooks, who only played 7 minutes. When forced to go to the bench, Winthrop's gotten the better of the bench play, 23-14 in bench points.
So Xavier Cooks gets his third. He spent a lot of time in the bench in the first half for the Eagles.
Pat Kelsey showing some confidence in Cooks. He picks up his third, but keeps him in the game.
So there's Waterman, who took the brunt of the contact coming around the corner. That is Johnson with his second. Keon Johnson leading all scorers in that first half with 13 points. The preseason pick for Big South Conference Player of the Year.
You know, Manhattan shot a respectable 11 of 23 from the field, but the reason they stayed even this close is because of free throws. They were a little more aggressive getting to the line, 17 of 23.
And it's one thing to get there, then you got to make them when you're there, and they did a very good job with that too. So can the Jaspers get going here? 10 on the shot clock. Wilson feeds underneath. through some traffic. Waterman couldn't get it to go, but the rebound comes back out. Wilson again, but he missed, connected with Capuano, and the ball will go over to Winthrop.
And again, one of those pretty much unforced errors. Tyler Wilson had an opportunity to make an easier pass. And Manhattan once again gives up a possession.
Nice drop off to Cooks. Does he get Ishmael up off the floor? Yes, he did. So that's his third. And we picked up 2 quick ones in the first half and spent a lot of time on the bench.
Well, that's a tough matchup for Ishmael. You know, you got Cooks right here. He switches out on him. And he really just used his body. He had his verticality perfect until he started to lean in. And that's what the officials called.
Capuano at speed into the lane to Waterman. And they'll call him for traveling.
Now, if I'm Steve Masiello, I get a little upset with that simply because the travel might have been caused by the contact. And you got to call the first one.
He made the, 30-foot stomp down the bench from one end of it to the other and expressed his displeasure.
Yeah, I mean, there's an art form in expressing displeasure without necessarily showing up the official.
Yes. Anders Broman has been hot.
An inside-out play right there. Winthrop has just played together as a team a little bit better than Manhattan. It's their effort in breaking that pressure and finding the open man that has helped them. Manhattan just careless with the ball.
It's out of bounds off of Cooks. It'll be a Manhattan ball.
Take a look. Ball goes inside. The collapse right there. You saw Capuano try to cover in the short corner and left the man wide open in the corner.
And the Broman family enjoying what they're seeing after their drive from Duluth, Minnesota to Riverdale, New York. On to Tallahassee for the weekend. Largest lead of the game for Winthrop.
Oh, man, I don't know. Once again, you dip your shoulder and you get the calls. Sometimes the guy's not even set. Now, you can draw a charge while your feet are still moving. Okay, and in that time, I think what happens, Cook's entitled to that path. And it was Waterman, when he dipped his shoulder, that broke in to the space that Cooks was entitled to.
Keon Johnson fouled hard. And pops back up off the floor. Tyler Wilson gets him on the arm. And that's his fourth. And the whistle's beginning to add up, and they're going to begin to take their toll on a lot of playing time, even more so as we go through this second half.
Yeah, none bigger than Dane Waterman on the bench. You know, he's one of Manhattan's mainstays, and saddled with foul trouble right now. Manhattan's got to adjust and play without him.
And Wilson just went out, so that's 2 of their starting 5 on the bench already at the beginning of this second half. High off the glass, no good. Rebound there by Capuano. 4 possessions, 3 turnovers in this second half for the Jaspers. Make it 5 and 4. Johnson going to pick up the block. It's going to be Turner. And that's his second.
Tell you what, on the other end, Bjorn Brom just doing a nice job playing solid defense against Turner. He got a piece of that ball, and that ball came up short. And that's what Pat Kelsey told us, you know, that Bjorn Broman, high basketball IQ, knows how to guard people. You know, he's not gaudy, but he gets the job done.
KK, Anders, Bjorn, Cooks, shot clock at 10. That's good ball movement. Rebound, KK couldn't get the spinner to go. And the Jaspers with a chance.
Yeah, you had to love that ball movement, just couldn't make the shot. But ball reversals 3, 4, 5 times. That's how you catch teams and find open looks. Ball reversal, go inside out.
Capuano stepped back to try and reset himself and stepped on the sideline, so the turnover there for the Jaspers.
Another unforced error.
So 6 possessions, 4 turnovers in this second half for the home team. I noticed, by the way, over on the bench, you'd see that there's a player seated right next to Coach Mass. That is Zane Waterman, who went from the end of the bench and wanted to sit next to the coach and talk something over. Davenport with a couple for the Eagles.
Yeah, the turnovers mounting up to giving Winthrop far too many possessions.
And another foul. That's going to be on Wilson. No, I'm sorry. It's on Johnson. Foul on Winthrop. His third.
So in 2 games now, Manhattan, actually really I would say just in 1.5 games, Manhattan's amassed 36 turnovers.
Yeah.
24 in their loss to Bucknell and the 12 here thus far. And a lot of them obviously are unforced. They've got to be able to value the ball.
That's not a formula for success. You're not going to add that line onto Coach Mazur's numbers he wants to achieve in a game, huh?
Tough shot, but bailed out by Ishmael, who puts it on the floor. A mistake there.
Underneath, wild shot. Tevin Prescott tried to make something happen, wouldn't go. Here come the Jaspers again. Tried to feed it to Ishmael. Prescott to Perkins for 3.
Boy, you talk about hustle. You got to give that. Right now, Winthrop, 11 offensive rebounds, 10 second chance points. Combine that with 14 Manhattan turnovers and 18 points off turnovers, and you see the steep hill Manhattan has got to climb. They've got to stop turning it over, and they've got to keep Winthrop off the glass.
Ball will stay with the Jaspers and bring us to the under-16 timeout.
13, led by Roderick Perkins, and more importantly, Joshua Davenport, who's done a terrific job defensively, and he hits the deck right here. Looks like he got hit in the face.
From outside, Waterman back in the game, couldn't hit, and yeah, Davenport still
looks a little woozy right now. They're going to have to.
Like he got poked in the eye. You'd think they want to call a timeout. He's trying to get back into play. He's got the ball there.
All of a sudden, it looked like he shook it off once he received the ball.
Now he's back over in front of the bench. They've got Cooks up, ready to check back in.
And, you know, I like what Pat Kelsey did during that period of time when Davenport was trying to shake the cobwebs. He's telling his guys to string out this possession, give him a chance to recover. Take a look at the inadvertent arm from Ishmael. Looked like he got caught in the face with the elbow.
Yeah, Ishmael was looking the other way.
Now he's coming out, but Davenport, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 13 minutes of play coming off the bench. And you talk about hustle, you talk about effort. He personified this for the Eagles today.
So Cook's back in, number 12, the junior from Australia. He's got 6 points. And a foul down inside.
Again, Alan, I'm just telling you, you just get knocked out and impressed by the ball movement of Winthrop. I mean, these guys have played so unselfishly.
Ishmael just called for his 4th foul, by the way. Yeah, you know, it's
you know, it's the ball movement and the reverse ball reversal that has forced the Manhattan defense to kind of shift and rotate. And Winthrop has caught them in rotation, and that's why they've been able to draw the fouls, get to the line. They've been able to get wide open looks, not only from beyond the arc, but inside the paint to challenge Manhattan.
Been interesting watching as Coach Steve Masiello has tried to adjust too, right? They started the game with the full pressure, backed off to half pressure, then they backed off more, then they went back to the midcourt pressure as he's just trying to find a solution that his team can make work.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you get a team that's playing with a lot of confidence, playing very unselfishly. You know, no matter what you do, they're able to adjust.
Ishmael is going to draw the foul there. And it's going to be on Tevin Prescott, his 3rd. I wonder if there's a count on the number of whistles we've had. We've had 42 fouls, right?
Wearing that P in the whistle, wearing them out.
from the corner. And Council gets the tray, and something for the home fans to cheer about. They were 0 for their previous 6 from the field.
And the way Manhattan can pressure, and can wear you down, this game is not over by a long shot. They've got some opportunities. They just got to be able to focus.
Ishmael with the reach in, gets the feedback from Council, draws the foul, though he couldn't finish.
And I know what Council was trying to do, trying to build some confidence and get some energy from his big guy by giving him the ball, but Council would have been better served to lay it up. He was out in front of the field. He slowed down to give it to the big fella.
That's the 4th on Xavier Cooks, so he won't be probably on the floor for long. And here is Ahmed Ishmael from Cairo, Egypt.
Talked about this young man having only played basketball for 5 years, and he's shown some athletic skill. He shows flashes of high competence, but then there are times when he just hides and he kind of reverts, and he's got to be able to establish himself. That same personality confidence that he exhibits off the court, he needs to have that presence on the court.
Missed them both. So Bjorn Broman back in, and Cooks goes back to the bench. There's Keon Johnson, a little too strong, fighting for the rebound inside, and it's going to be Dubio KK for Winthrop that gets called for the foul.
Actually, I think it was Perkins who was grabbing Ishmael's jersey. The officials saw that.
Okay.
KK's happy it wasn't on him.
Well, I thought the official was pointing at him as he kind of ran into the pile. Oh yeah, there it is, the jersey tug.
That was an easy one.
You never did that when you played.
Nah, our jerseys are too tight. It's like offensive linemen. They were so tight you couldn't pull that. There he
Capuano.
is. Capuano. It's time for him to start lighting up a little bit. I mentioned it earlier. He's the leading scorer in the loss to Bucknell. He's in much better condition, more confident right now. He's a pretty good basketball player.
Oh, Johnson under duress and drains it.
He's not bad either.
Yeah.
Just when you think you got some daylight, Keon Johnson starts to turn the lights out.
There it is again. Weaving between two. Ooh, tried to get the finish, did Davenport. Watch this from the corner.
Take a look right there. Broman with the pass. There's a double team. Ishmael wanted to come out, but he decided to stay at home, and that just gave just enough for Johnson to get that shot off. And again, I can't say enough about this young man, the way he's been playing today. A bundle of energy, hustling on both ends of the floor, runs the floor, hits the offensive glass, and takes a beating. It keeps on ticking, though.
So that is the 4th foul. As you check the leading scorers, Keon Johnson leading all scorers in the game. Davenport there on that list. Adding to his total. And back to a 17-point lead for the Eagles. Wilson drives. Just caught a piece of it, did Bjorn Broman.
But that's the kind of aggressive play Manhattan needs right now. There's no settling anymore. They got to kick it into another gear, put the pressure on the Winthrop defense, draw fouls, find open guys, and then they got to knock down shots. That's just on the offensive end.
Yeah.
Defensively,
you got to find a way to keep those other guys from scoring too, right?
That's right. Defensively, they got to be able to match the energy of a guy like Joshua Davenport. They've got to be able to, play aggressively, defensively, get out on guys, but also play smart, not run out of the defense and allow Winthrop to find open guys, catch you in rotation.
Davenport feeds KK, and it'll go back the other way.
And that's one of the smart plays. And you expect that from Zane Waterman. get good position, kind of wall up right there, and you see OKK jump into Zane Waterman. Good draw by Waterman, and those are the sparks that help a team in a comeback. We'll see if Manhattan has got enough left.
Waterman has spent a lot of time in this game on the bench, picked up some early fouls in a game that's been full of fouls. Crawford drives, a little too strong, contact underneath, and there'll be free throws coming for the home team.
And you see a pattern here. That's the second time now Perkins has called for grabbing a jersey. More activity on both glasses forces Winthrop to try to do something.
104 or 107 to 99 or something.
You projecting?
No, I'm not that smart. I have trouble carrying the one. Just saying. So Council goes to the bench. And they'll get Usillo back into the game. 52 for Manhattan, one of the big men that they've waited on to get back into some game action. Here comes the full court pressure. Roman across the timeline, feeds Davenport. He takes it right to the paint. Draws the foul.
Remember I said it earlier, the job that Davenport and Perkins have done in the middle of that zone, and to a certain extent Prescott as well, can't be understated. You keep that ball in the middle against that pressure in your attack, good things are going to happen. Manhattan's job is to try to force people to the sideline and to the corner and try to keep it out of the middle.
$14 points now for Joshua Davenport, the senior forward from Cincinnati, and another free throw yet to come. Just looking around trying to find somebody in the game that doesn't have 3 fouls on him. So Usillo, that just came in for Manhattan, and went right back out, doesn't have any fouls on him. He's got some to give. That was the 50th foul in this game.
Wow.
You didn't know West Virginia was playing this morning, did you?
I got pressed Virginia at the NIT tip-off during Thanksgiving, so looking forward to seeing Bob Huggins' crew.
All right, Waterman feeds inside out to Capuano for the 3.
Quiet as it's kept, 12-point game right now. Manhattan slowly but surely chipping away. They've got to maintain the energy that they have and play defense smartly.
Ooh, heavy contact down by the stanchion.
I don't know what Zane Waterman's thinking. He's a secondary defender. You cannot take a charge standing in the restricted area.
And Keon Johnson took the brunt of that. Timeout on the court here in Manhattan.
Do that, and you know, going forward, he's got a future, no question about it.
It is a tough profession,
yep.
No doubt. Any hesitation at all on Dad's part when Steven said, "Hey, I'm going to try this"?
A little bit, simply because, again, you know, here in New York City, director of basketball operation probably aren't going to be able to afford that penthouse apartment.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to make a living right now, but I think things will work out for him. He stays dedicated, which he is.
It's fun to see. So down by 14 are the Manhattan Jaspers. And the foul looks like Anders Groman is going to get called for that one over on the side.
Yeah, Manhattan's
His second. Sorry.
Yeah, Manhattan's got to figure out that when they make progress to the basket, you know, Winthrop has a hard time guarding them. They have a hard time getting in front. They have a hard time beating them to the spot. And so they're going to get some free throw opportunities. You know, in a double bonus right now, so they should take advantage as much as they can. But more than anything else, on the other end, they've got to be able to string together some stops. They've got to keep Winthrop one shot and out.
1 of 2 for Thomas Capuano.
Yeah, it's not so much about the pressure stealing the ball, although obviously that's an added benefit. It's about wearing Winthrop down, forcing tough shots. And again, one shot and out.
Travel. Bjorn Broman put the brakes on, couldn't get the back foot stopped in time.
And so you can see that's a little telltale sign of whether this pressure throughout this game it's taken its toll, because Broman's done a terrific job of handling this press up until now.
Stephen F. Austin and Longwood. Stephen F. Austin, what, how many conference championships? How many times have they gone to the tournament in these last few years?
They were one of those bracket busters. I talk about the anatomy of a bracket buster, having, you know, senior play, execution, having some guts. You know, they were able to do it in the tournament 2016.
Broman gets 3 from the corner. Yeah, 4 straight years they've been the Southland Conference champion. Stephen F. Austin, and they're next on our college basketball tip-off marathon. Well, Waterman found himself free inside, trying to catch back up to him. Tevin Prescott will pick up the foul and send Waterman to the line. The other thing that's going on here, too, Len, you know, when you're trying to slow the game down, when you're behind and you're fouling on purpose and so on, well, Winthrop is helping Manhattan with all these fouls, too, because they're getting a chance to shoot these free throws with the clock stopped. And they got a big deficit to dig out of, so they can use all the time they can get.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question. Now, they've been able to kind of counteract that to a certain extent by knocking down some threes, but if they continue at this pace, you know, Manhattan's going to be back in this ballgame if they hit the free throws.
Got to make them both. Last 2 times they've gone to the line, only made 1 of the 2. Keon Johnson beats the pressure, goes inside himself, throws up a wild shot, but he's going to draw a foul, and that could be a big one because that's the 5th if it's on Waterman.
And there's that dreaded disqualification buzzer.
So Zane Waterman, the junior forward and one of the team leaders for the Jaspers, leaves the game with just 3 points. He got in foul trouble early, picked up a couple of quick ones, spent a lot of the first half on the bench. He's been in and out in the second half, and now he's done with still 10:38 to go.
And he's got company on the way, as there are a number of guys for Manhattan that have got 4 fouls.
3 of the 5.
1, 2, 3.
3 of the 5 that are on the floor now have 4 fouls. Wilson, Crawford, and Ishmael, who just came back in, all have 4 fouls, which will be the next to depart the contest.
I'll tell you, again, an uphill battle for Manhattan when you get Waterman in foul trouble right from the get-go, only playing 4 minutes in the first half. He's one of their team leaders, one of their better players. And the fact that you got probably your best player sitting on the bench injured, and Rich Williams, he won't be back until probably sometime in December, as I'm told by Steve Masiello. You know, it's a tough thing for a team like this, especially when you got 6 newcomers who are trying to integrate into the system. Not to make excuses for Manhattan, because they've had their opportunities in this game.
The ball got away from Ishmael. He saved it. Capuano fed it out to Wilson. He drives. Got it to go.
Luckily, we're not drawing masterpieces in this game. It's a result-oriented game, and as long as that ball went in. And again, to take nothing away from the effort of Winthrop. First of all, to come in here on the road to play at 8:45 in the morning, and then to withstand this pressure as well as they have, and to move the ball and give you a clinic of ball movement. Remember at the beginning of the telecast I talked about the anatomy of a bracket buster?
Yep.
This is the kind of team, Winthrop, that's going to get better. The fact that they move the ball, and when you take a look at the challenge they're going to have early in the season, you know, they're going to be battle tested.
Down to Tallahassee, out to Illinois, to Dayton, St. Louis.
You know, they got a bunch of seniors on this team and juniors who obviously understand how to play and will provide some effort. Look at that.
Nice feed. Davenport inside to Okeke.
If I had to pick an MVP for this game, absolutely Joshua Davenport, who has gotten the job done.
15 points, 6 rebounds, just 2 fouls for 42, wearing the visitors' jersey. As Usillo with the putback back into the game.
And again, not to say that it's over. 15 points, not insurmountable with 9 minutes left. But Winthrop right now, after a couple of bouts with discomfort, seems very comfortable right now against this Manhattan defense. I did the Michigan State-Kentucky one where Michigan State has the underdog in 4 of those games. It's 3-1.
Yep. Manhattan is the underdog right now, trailing Winthrop by 15. Usillo gets in there.
A good help side by Sammy Usillo.
He's got the ball now. 52 into the paint, swatted away by OKK. 3 off the mark. Traffic underneath. Whistle. Division I basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know, you stepped up the ladder. The competition level is going to be tougher, and you're going to have to adjust to that too.
I'm sure he hasn't seen guys like Joshua Davenport on the community college level. And quite honestly, when you look at the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, there are a lot of guys from a lot of teams that are going to be able to challenge him on a daily basis, and he's got to be up to the challenge mentally and physically.
So Joshua Davenport matches his career high with 17 points. From the corner, Xavier Turner off the mark. OKK with the rebound.
And again, I want to go back to the anatomy of a bracket buster kind of team. You take a look at Winthrop. They've got the experience. They've been able to blend some young players into their lineup. And the ball movement is something that, you know, you just can't replicate. You guys want to be, you have to want to be unselfish enough and smart enough to move the ball and find open looks. And then the mental toughness, and that's going to get developed with that schedule we showed earlier.
Davenport's going to draw the foul and try and extend his career high and his...
Certainly don't forget guys like Dennis Smith from NC State. You know, don't forget Markelle Fultz from Washington as well. Guys who have capability to lead their team to the promised land. You're talking about a new crop of bracket busters, and I said before that the mid-major teams are the ones who really make March Madness fun. Last year, Middle Tennessee, Stephen F. Austin, Northern Iowa, St. Joe's. This year, think about St. Mary's, Valpo, Northern Iowa again, Rhode Island, Monmouth, teams like that. And finally, from the rules standpoint, we've seen the impact of the emphasis on, you know, increasing freedom of movement and reducing the physical play, the amount of fouls that have been called, and that's going to happen early. And the teams that can make the adjustment are going to be the teams that are going to have obviously greater success. And we're talking about not only power conference teams, but the ability of some of these non-power conference teams to create some upset.
Nice turnaround jumper by Capuano.
And the thing is, can the officials stay consistent from the beginning all the way through the season and call it that way during the NCAA tournament? And that's going to be a story that folks need to watch.
If you are looking for Longwood and Stephen F. Austin scheduled to follow this game, we've had a ton of fouls and a ton of stoppages. That will start on ESPN News before picking up when this one is done here in Riverdale. So it's 83-66, Winthrop over Manhattan. You're talking about bracket busters, obviously just getting to the tournament for one of these one-bid conferences like the Big South that Winthrop is in is a big challenge. Winthrop has been to their conference championship game the last 3 consecutive years and not won it, and not gone to the tournament. You were talking to Pat Kelsey yesterday. I happened to be sitting in about getting over the hump.
Well, what Pat said was, and it rings true, that look, you have to look at it this way. You're disappointed that you didn't win those games and get to the NCAA tournament, but you also have to revel in the fact that from January to March during conference play, you played some pretty darn good basketball to get there. And you have to live in that moment to continue to play that kind of basketball on a daily basis so that you can get the other chance. You don't dwell on what could have been. You dwell on where you are now. Be great today and hopefully get there and have another chance. And, you know, I like that attitude. I mean, because there's nothing else you can really say.
Play your best basketball in March.
Yeah.
And have a chance. And that's what their goal is. They feel like their system's pretty simple. They just get better at it as the season goes on. And so Winthrop trying to get over that hump this year. First, of course, they have to get back to the conference championship game, which means being really good, playing their best basketball in March. Other sideline, Manhattan is part of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. They made an announcement a couple of weeks ago that I found to be kind of interesting. where they put a new scheduling policy in place for the conference. And what they're trying to do is increase the conference's RPI rating and strength of schedule rating and find a way to get away from being just the automatic bid, a one-bid conference, to give their teams a better chance at an at-large bid, both to the NCAA tournament and to the NIT tournament. And I guess we'll call that one the Monmouth rule.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Monmouth was a team that many people felt should have received an at-large bid, considering their early season non-conference success against some big-name teams. And, you know, I kind of like the attitude, you know, rather than stand pat and hope that things work out for you next year, you know, take the initiative.
Yeah.
Try to make some changes that are going to help.
Yeah. Do something. Seen it in college football.
Give Richard Ensor and his group, the commissioner of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, give them a lot of credit.
Aaron Walker drops one in. And the Jaspers trying to make a little bit of a push here, but they've still got a 13-point deficit with 6 minutes to go.
And quite honestly, when you look at the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, you've got teams like Iona and Siena, particularly Siena, who's picked to win the thing. You know, there's some pretty representative teams, as well as Monmouth. You know, so you might get 3 potential bids. It's early.
That is going to be it for Calvin Crawford, and that does not please Steve Masiello. He was about halfway down to the center court line before he stopped and turned around, and now he's walked all the way back past the end line, trying to keep himself from saying something that might be pushing the rules a little bit much.
Yeah, I mean, Calvin Crawford started out like a house of fire, 3 or 4 from beyond the arc, and then he got that technical foul along with Xavier Cooks, and it kind of took both of them out of the game.
Yeah.
Cooks on the bench already with free throw problems.
And he just fouled out Cooks, too, while we were talking about the conference issues.
And now Calvin Crawford. And even at the end, Cooks kind of waved goodbye to Calvin Crawford, so there's no love lost there. But that's, again, that's the emphasis of these rules to create freedom of movement.
Yep.
And it's going to have impact, adverse impact on some teams if guys don't make the adjustment.
14 of their last 15 free throws made for the Eagles. They have certainly taken advantage of the opportunity to be at the stripe.
And look, again, it's a 14-point game with 6 minutes left. It is not insurmountable. 12 points now.
So Walker gets that one. And now the pressure again from the Jaspers.
Good mental toughness test both for Winthrop and Manhattan at this juncture.
Shot clock running down. Roman creates space, has to float it up. Xavier Pert was closing, the big man in the middle. Now running to the other end. Xavier Turner is going to draw the foul.
And again, we talk about spark plugs. Keon Johnson has been just that for Winthrop, even though we've given a lot of credit to Joshua Davenport, but Johnson has been the guy who's hit some big buckets when they need it. And the flip side of it is that Xavier Turner has that same capability. You know, transfer from Ball State, sat out last year, chomping at the bit to get involved this year to lead this team. And you see he's got the same kind of skill set as Johnson, but now he's got to really kick it up a notch, help bring his team back.
Manhattan hasn't been awful shooting free throws, but a little under 70%. But it just seemed like here they've made 1 of 2 several times that might have helped them try and get a little bit something going.
Yeah, and Winthrop, on the other hand, has taken full advantage of the free throw opportunities they've been given. 25 of 28, about 89%. That's how you win ball games.
Johnson's able to get that one back. And whistle. I think they reset the shot clock and perhaps shouldn't have. And that's what we got going on over at the scorer's table now.
I guess the official on the clock, just like Xavier Turner, thought that Manhattan actually had possession of it. Turner took off before possession was secured.
So they'll have a look and see where it might be.
Take a look right there. Number 3's taken off before they even have possession. And the shot clock did reset, so there was anticipation. They can only look at the number of turnovers and Winthrop's ability to convert those into points as the culprit.
Whoa,
what a block.
Away. How about that? Aaron Walker. Can't get the payoff at the other end. So, tied up ball, possession arrow. It will go to Winthrop.
That's one of those situations where I wouldn't have minded. You take a look at the block right there. Oh, we got him on the arm.
Yeah.
That's a missed call.
Well,
I'm sure everybody at home is saying, how many fouls did they call in this game? And they missed that one?
It happens. Under 5 to go, and an 11-point ball game. Fans that have come out to Java with the Jaspers, trying to make a little noise and encourage their team. Deion Johnson trapped. Did he just call a timeout? He did. Six tonight, Sports Center tonight with Scott Van Pelt, college hoop highlights, the NBA, NHL, college football, NFL news, and everything else. It's after Duke, Kansas Sports Center tonight, streaming on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN.
We're talking about 11-point game again, not insurmountable, but time running out for Manhattan.
Deion Johnson off the mark, but an offensive rebound.
Remember I told you, Manhattan, it's not about the turnovers, it's about one shot and out, and they just can't give up second chances.
And you can't give Dubio KK the ball with a free shot at the rim.
Yeah, all he takes is one step, and with that body, you know, he clears all the traffic.
6'8". He's got a long stride.
Nice split. Oh, you got to shoot that.
And knocked away Aaron Walker off his feet and out of bounds. Under 4, timeout. And a 13-point game here in Riverdale for the Jaspers.
Go along with his 20 points, getting to the line, 14 of 16 from the line. He has been absolutely a zone record today.
The senior forward from Cincinnati having a big time in the big city. So still a 13-point gap for the Eagles as they try and get their second win of the season. Beginning of a very difficult stretch on the road for Winthrop. They go next to Florida State, then to Illinois. And a push-off by Anders Broman, his third foul.
Now Manhattan obviously playing with a sense of urgency. That's a terrific job by Tyler Wilson to hold his spot and then to help the officials out on that charge. But nevertheless, you know, this is what Manhattan needs.
Stops and then to cash in.
Right, if they can close the gap, even if they come up short, it's a learning experience. That's the type of effort, the type of mental approach to this game that they need for the full 40 minutes.
Ooh. Davenport got sent to the floor hard.
And you got, there's contact again. It's his knee this time, my goodness.
Landed on, looked like he just landed solid on the knee right there. And from experience, that can hurt.
Let's take a look. Oh, twisted, looks like he twisted that ankle a little bit and then took a hard tumble.
I take it that it's raining quite hard outside.
Can you hear it? Pitter patter? Uh-oh.
Yes, I can.
My partner dodging raindrops here.
Let's just say there's a little condensation as Davenport gets to his feet. Good to see. He has, you just call him your player of the game, but he has taken a beating. He caught an elbow to the right eye earlier. He got knocked down on his back hard up under the backboard.
Well, that's what I mean by those non-power conference seniors. You know, guys that fly under the radar. You know, as we talk about freshmen on a national basis, but, you know, these are the guys that come up big in March when you see the upsets. And there's a slippage right there. They never wiped it up after Davenport hit the ground. They never came and wiped that up.
That was right where he was.
Yeah.
So the ball's going to go over to Winthrop.
Yeah, now they got to call somebody to come and wipe it up, but they should have done it when Davenport hit the deck. There's some irony for you.
Don't forget, next game up in the college basketball tip-off marathon, Longwood at Stephen F. Austin, the 4 straight Southland Conference champion Stephen F. Austin team playing now. That game has started. It's on ESPN News. We'll continue it here on ESPN2 as soon as this one is done in another 2 minutes and 58 seconds. From the corner, wide open three, couldn't hit it. Xavier Turner couldn't cash in.
Shot was there. And that would have brought this crowd to its feet.
Ooh, Keon Johnson hit the deck hard, went into the lane. Xavier Pert was there. He ran into him like Pert was a brick house. Bounced right off him.
Well, take a look. Well, his arms aren't straight up. He's able to wall up even though he's in front of and in the restricted area. He's allowed to wall up, and he's got to leave his feet to try to block the shot. Pert did, but his arms weren't even straight up. He violated the principle of verticality there with his arms leaning over. Fortunate there wasn't a call.
He is 6'10", 270 pounds. And Keon Johnson, who ran into him, is 5'7", 160.
But tough.
Being more the stature of Johnson, myself, than Pert, and having run into a few larger people like that in some of my meager athletic attempts, that's not fun.
You feel that,
That's not fun at all.
There's that man again.
Yeah.
Joshua Davenport on the line. Trying to seal the deal for his team.
16 of 18 from the free throw line. And 22 points on the game for Joshua Davenport. Walker. Nope. Good save. There's Pert.
Good penetration by Capuano to create that. But again, it looks like too little too late, as Manhattan just unable to limit Winthrop to one shot and out or turn him over. There you go.
They can get a ball across in 10 seconds. They'll turn it over there. Look at the kids on the Manhattan bench, far side. As you see the cameras pan by, they just sat down now. They have been standing since the ball was put in play from that last stoppage, trying to...
And that's a silver lining, trying to will their team back into this ball game. And that's a silver lining for this team. Even though they're down, guys haven't given up. And they've got to continue that energy and create that force, if you will, going forward.
Just can't hit the outside shot.
And sometimes I wonder if the constant pressure doesn't take the legs from players this early in the season. You know, they may not be, and they shouldn't be, in peak condition, but to be able to run this kind of defense and then still have something left over, particularly when you're down, that kind of anxiety, that's energy robber, makes it tough to come back.
Davenport fed outside to Perkins. He went for it, drew the foul.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, I agree. Pert draws that foul, 12. It's an interesting thing, you know, when you talk to Steve Masiello, you read about, you know, the philosophies and so on of what they're trying to do. You got to have a lot of players to run this system.
And he has been able to substitute relatively liberally, but because of the foul situation, you know, the minutes have been disproportionate.
Yep.
And so a lot of guys have had to play probably more minutes than they needed to, simply because of the foul trouble. And when you're playing this kind of defense and this kind of scrambling and this kind of anxiety-ridden part of the game when you're down and trying to come back, that's going to take its toll.
On the other side of the coin, the Metro Atlantic is basically a one-bid conference, and so applying Pat Kelsey's philosophy to what Steve is doing, they need to be in their best shape and play their best basketball in March.
Yeah, there's no question you got to peak at that particular time. Actually, you peak in February and maintain that peak.
Yeah. That'll be Walker. That'll be his fourth.
I was going to say, now's the time for Manhattan to try to extend the game and hope Winthrop misses some free throws, but extend this game?
and Winthrop
We're
hasn't
way
been,
beyond extension, right?
And Winthrop hasn't been missing any free throws either.
All right.
31 of 36 from the free throw line in the game are the Eagles.
Wow.
Well, it'll be a happy trip back to Rock Hill, South Carolina. Just across the border from Charlotte, where South Carolina and North Carolina meet. Pretty little spot, if you've never been there before.
Oh, yeah, I've been through there. And enjoyable, particularly spring, summer.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, again, give Winthrop all the credit in the world for coming up to the big city, playing an 8:45 a.m. game. You know, totally against everybody's internal clock. And winning convincingly.
The way going into the lane, the prayer thrown up was not answered. Pert gets the rebound. That will be knocked off the rim by Okeke. And score it.
And you know what? The longer Manhattan plays and plays guys off the bench, the more you see some positive things from him. That play by Pert right there with his length and his strength. You know, he's obviously got to get in better shape. But you see the flashes of what he's capable of doing. And remember, this is November.
Yep.
I'd like to see these guys in January.
And back to one of the things you said way early on in the game, Len, which was so many newcomers to mix into the system. And a lot of them have gotten a lot of playing time today.
Yeah, they have. And they put forth the effort. It just worked against them. You know, some mental errors certainly, but take nothing away from Winthrop's effort today with the way they handled the pressure, the way they attacked the pressure, moved the ball, you know, caught Manhattan in their rotations and looked for easy shots, open shots, and they knocked them down. That's the thing. It's one thing to get the shots. It's another thing to knock them down.
Anders Broman with the free throw. So assuming the family enjoyed their trip to Manhattan from Duluth, and they'll go on down to Tallahassee to follow their sons as the Eagles head there. For the Jaspers, their next game will be against Hofstra. That'll be here on Friday night. Who do you like tonight, Kentucky or Michigan State?
Well, as I mentioned before,
you like the underdog.
Michigan State, well, this underdog, because they played so well against Kentucky when they were the underdog.
Duke and Kansas?
Kansas, you know, I think Josh Jackson has something to prove right now. Duke has got two of their top freshmen injured. You know, I got a feeling Kansas may come out with this one.
Okay. Be interesting to see how it unfolds tonight. Down the one train from here at Madison Square Garden in the State Farm Champions Classic at Madison Square Garden, 7 Eastern on ESPN. And again,
although you can take the one train in 96 and take the Express 2 and 3.
Yeah, this is true.
A little quicker. Spoken like a New Yorker.
Yeah, someone who's got a lot more experience on those trains than me. I worked here in New York in the late 1980s. I say that out loud for a little while. Used to ride the one train.
So you worked there, and I was going to say you must not have ridden the train too often.
I rode the one
different
train.
Different day back then.
Every day, but I didn't go far enough to, you know, I was only going up to 66th Street.
It's a much different day than it is today.
Yep, for sure. 21 seconds to go. So remember the name, the Winthrop Eagles, if you're watching and not particularly tied with the school, because you may see them again come March. Preseason favorite to win the Big South Conference and try and grab yet another appearance in the NCAA tournament. If they're able to do so, it's a long way from now. It would be their 10th. And the storyline of this game, whistles early and often. Look at this. 66 combined fouls in the game. Long ways from a record, but it's a lot.
Look at 1953, 84, and the pace that they played back then.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And that was in Arizona. I hope they weren't playing in the desert.
Yeah. All right, so a big win for Winthrop on the road here in New York City. And for Manhattan, they'll start the season 0-2 and try and regroup before their game on Friday night against Bucknell. And another whistle with 8.9 to go. Well, I suppose there's something to be said for the consistency from start to finish, right?
Oh, there's no question about it. They are continuing to play the way that they were expecting to play. No let up. Guys on the floor still battling for jobs, as you mentioned earlier. You know, Pat Kelsey doesn't want to play 10 guys, but he's still trying to figure out what his rotation is. And if guys want playing time, you know, they've got to play. So this has been a 2.5-hour game right now. And I mentioned before, from a national standpoint, as far as a storyline, there are going to be a lot of games probably like this until teams make the adjustment. Because the officials aren't allowed to make the adjustment.
That's right.
They have to continue to call it the way they've been instructed, which is enforce the rule.
It has been very, very emphatically stated. Let's see, 80. What is that? The 82nd free throw of the game.
68th foul. But who's counting?
But who's counting? Yeah.
Especially now.
All right. Can we get through 8.2 seconds without another whistle? I think so, since Steve Masiello is walking to center court to shake hands with Pat Kelsey.